a research-based practice that creates communication platforms for cultural and commercial clients who appreciate the power of design in a contemporary and culturally reflective context. Please welcome Nicole Jacek.
I run a very small design practice called NJLA, together with Noreen Morioka in Los Angeles. Our work ranges from interactive to physical visual experiences, and we believe that good design can change and evolve culture. So tonight I want to talk about the things that I've learned ever since I started a studio, and of course show you some of our projects. But the first thing that I've learned the hard way is you have to find great work. Great work does not find you. You cannot just sit there and wait for shit to happen, because, you know, no shit will happen. So we started to create our own criteria for the ideal client and project, and with this in mind, we created a list of people that we really wanted to work with and went after each one of them. And one of the companies that we started to harass were Adobe, who then asked us to be part of their Adobe Remix project. We were supposed to hack the logo. Now, hacking the logo wasn't really interesting to us. We were more interested in developing something that allows other people to be part of this as well and create their own creative expressions. So we made an app. We named it the NJLA Remix app. Our goal was to create a user-generated audiovisual experience for iOS devices. You know, something that allows you to explore audiovisual forms of the Adobe logo that can be manipulated with facial recognition. So this is like giving you a quick introduction of how the app works. There's me. So logo and sound react to your facial movements, so you can raise your eyebrows, wink your eyes, or just go crazy with your facial expressions, like anything goes, really. And then you can shake it for different textures and more structures. And with the iPhone's accelerometer, you can, you know, look at it from different angles and spin your creation. So the idea of this project really was to create the biggest live feed exhibition ever, with thousands of Adobe logo hacks created by Adobe fans around the world. Once you recorded your animations, you can submit them to Adobe through the app, and, you know, boom, you're on this big screen. Unfortunately, you know, this is something that sometimes happens with a big corporate giant. As much as they love this and wanted to move forward with, the lobbies weren't finished. They were all under construction, but we had to launch. So we were like, okay. So something that had been designed to be the biggest live exhibition ever was forced to launch no matter what. And so we had to find another temporary home, and of course that didn't work out as we wished it would. It was of course online, and so we created a quick online exhibition. These are some of those examples, and of course we did a lot of videos that Adobe then shared on all their social media platforms. You know, all this stuff was also applied to billboards, merchandise, business collateral, tote bags, and iPhone cases. So for us, this has been still a very incredible, experimental, and fun ride. Especially it was, apart from Nike, one of the biggest projects we've worked on. The second thing that I've learned was decorating the cake doesn't make the cake taste better. We've been asked to help Good Magazine to transform from a activist publication into a quarterly journal for the global citizen. So this is this issue. We stripped the magazine down to its core and built a simple framework for the concept to be a priority and the design to be supportive. This is the first inaugural issue of the Good Magazine revamp. And one thing that is important, and I think that's something, you know, that applies to everything we do, to think that the redesign is solving all your issues, that's definitely an illusion. For example, with this magazine, if the content is weak and if you're not having clear mission and a strategy, your design can be amazing as fuck. It's not going to matter. And it will definitely fail. So we help consulting on multiple ends with the content, but also with the company culture of how to involve how to involve them to make them into what they wanted to be. So as you can see, there's almost no design in this first issue. There was no money for a cover shoot. There was no money for commissioned photography. We used existing photography and made our own stuff. Like here, some renders. This was as much design as we really could get done for the first one. These are some of the other issues we did. We still didn't have any money for a cover shoot, but at least we were able to commission our first shoots for this, and that was quite incredible. We were working with Timothy Goodman on some of the interstitials, with kids in Nepal that were shooting their area right after the big earthquake. We commissioned photo shoots in Bangkok, so that was quite nice, and we worked with our friend Scotty Cameron. On the homilies, the left one is a representation for gambling and the right one for beauty. And this is the latest one. That's the first time where we actually had a cover shoot with Luke Guilford. And on the cover is LA's most iconic transgender couple, Zachary Drucker and Harry Neff. And we also collaborated with Nina Paper, who then started to bring in paper, and it started to become very haptic. I mean, it's a challenge to work on a magazine that is not sheet-fed, because you don't have that many options really creatively in terms of color or in terms of anything material. So it turned out quite well for that. We worked with Adi Goodrich on some shoots on the bottom right, who is a fantastic set designer. And again, we teamed up with Scotty Cameron to create some of the things inside the magazine. Now, the third thing that I've learned is pursue what you love and the rest will follow. Don't make things for money. So we just launched our very first website showcasing the things we do. And of course, we try to treat this as a project in itself rather than just making a website. I've never been interested in anything digital really until I started NJLA. So this turned into a really fun playground for us. This is what happens when you go on the site.
Hello, motherfuckers. Welcome to NJLA. This is a website, a showcase of what we do. Sit back, enjoy, and remember, we love you.
So we wanted to create something that goes beyond a typical portfolio showcase. Right. There's an angry eye. You can, shoot my bio, because who the fuck needs a bio? We really try to create something that represents the energy of the studio. And of course, we also have, you can see our projects. And what we did as well is we really recreated every single project. Don't ask me why, obviously we have a lot of time on hand. So we built everything in 3D. So every magazine you see or every whatever, this is a wrong example, but if you go under, you see everything has been recreated in 3D. So anyway, obviously I'm using a Tibor Kalman quote for this one. I like being a 10-year-old kid who is in charge. On that note, thank you very much.